Splitting adherent cells is one of the standard experiments performed under a biosafety cabinet. Today, we are joining Soraya, one of the LCSB cell culture experts, as she shares her best practices. Before starting your experiment, turn on the biosafety cabinet, clean it, and prepare all the materials you need according to the procedure showcased in our step-by-step video on preparing a biosafety cabinet. It is important to start with labeling each tube. Always include at least your initials and the name of the product. This will help you to keep track of everything and will make it easier to identify your tubes and their contents in case you need to leave the laboratory. If you need to count cells, prepare a microtube in advance. Open the sterile microtube container. Put the lid on the bench facing up and pour one tube out of the container. Handle the tube without touching the opening nor the inside of the lid. Close it and put it on the microtube holder. If more than one tube has fallen out, pour it back into the container and close it. Do not forget to label the microtube. It is always recommended that the media, the PBS, and all other solutions be aliquoted. This not only facilitates handling, but also prevents contaminating the entire bottle. To aid with opening bottles with one hand, loosen all the bottle caps before starting. Remove the cap from the Falcon tube and the media bottle and place them on a clean surface. Carefully pour the estimated volume of media needed for your experiment in the Falcon, paying attention that the bottle and the Falcon do not touch. The closed media bottle can be put aside or even better removed from the biosafety cabinet. Before starting the splitting process, check up on your cells under the microscope. When moving a tea flask, always move slowly and hold it slightly tilted to ensure that no media drop enters the mouth of the flask. This could create a bridge between the outside and the inside of the flask, allowing contaminants to enter. Use a microscope to check the status and confluence of your cells. If the cells are ready, disinfect the tea flask before introducing it in the biosafety cabinet. You should also always spray your hands with ethanol before re-entering the cabinet. To remove the old media, you can use a glass pipette from the container, making sure not to touch any other pipettes. Then connect the pipette to the aspiration nozzle and carefully open the tea flask. It is important to slightly tilt the tea flask while aspirating the media, to make sure not to touch the mouth of the tea flask with the pipette. Close the flask and discard the glass pipette in the sharpener. Before adding the washing solution, disinfect the serological pipette packaging and check its integrity. A pipette with an opened or damaged packaging is not sterile and should be discarded. Open the packaging inside the biosafety cabinet, away from the opening of the tea flask. Make sure that the outside of the packaging does not touch the pipette, and take extra care with the tip. Using a serological pipette, add the washing solution by slowly pouring it along the side of the tea flask, taking care not to disturb the cells or form bubbles. Discard the serological pipette inside the cabinet. Gently rotate the flask from one side to the other, taking care not to create any droplets. Then remove the washing solution using a pipette and the aspiration pump. Now add the necessary volume of the detaching enzymatic solution, usually trypsin or acutase, to the tea flask. Shake the tea flask very gently to ensure an even distribution of the solution. Now carefully place the tea flask in the incubator and wait for the recommended amount of time. If after the recommended incubation time the cells are not yet entirely detached, gently pat the sides of the tea flask. Never tap the bottom of the flask, as this increases the risk of droplets entering the mouth of the flask. When the cells are detached, disinfect the cell culture flask and place it in the biosafety cabinet. Using a serological pipette, aspirate the liquid several times to detach all cells and mix them well. Then, completely aspirate the liquid and carefully pour it into a labeled Falcon tube before placing it in the centrifuge. Make sure your centrifuge is correctly equilibrated. Place tubes containing the same volume of liquid opposite of each other, and use a dummy tube containing water if needed. During the runtime of the centrifuge, you can start preparing new tea flasks. Spray the entire package and hold the opening inside the biosafety cabinet when opening it. When taking out the flask, be careful not to touch the interior of the packaging. Close the package before taking it out of the cabinet. On your new cell culture tea flasks and any other tubes that you store after the experiment, always add the date, the cell line, the passage number, your initials, and any other relevant information. After centrifugation, disinfect the tube and then carefully remove the supernatant using the aspiration pump. To resuspend the cells, use 1 ml filtered tips and a micropipette. Place the box on the side of your dominant hand. Make sure it's unlocked before starting. Keeping the openings as short as possible is essential to limit potential contaminations. Gently resuspend the cell pellet and discard the tip in the waste bag you prepared inside the biosafety cabinet. Take a small volume to count the cells using your preferred method, then calculate the dilution factor required. Add the corresponding volume of fresh media, and then distribute the volume in the newly prepared tea flasks. Now that the tea flasks with the newly seeded cells are ready, place them back in the incubator. You can now start cleaning the biosafety cabinet. First, remove all the waste and put it directly in the biohazard bin. Spray ethanol in the aspiration pump tubing. Then disinfect and remove all the non-essential material. Disinfect all surfaces inside the biosafety cabinet. Let the cabinet run for some time to ensure air renewal with HEPA-filtered air. Finally, lower the window of the biosafety cabinet and turn it off. The last user of the day can completely switch it off using the main switch key. Before leaving the laboratory, remove and dispose of your gloves. Then thoroughly wash your hands. Thank you for watching this video. We hope it will help you to improve your cell culture best practices. Please note that the standard operating procedures and material used might vary for your institution. Contact your laboratory support team should you need more information.